you have a cell phone, please turn it off or put it on silent. We have a roll call of the commission.
Scott Brown.
Here.
Tom Pett.
Here.
George Strander.
Here.
Wesley Dick.
Here.
Greg Strand.
Here.
Scott Kipp.
Here.
Joseph Domingo.
Here.
And Garrett Brown.
All right, we have a quorum. Moving on to approval of prior meeting minutes. Commissioners should have draft minutes from our October 18th meeting and our November 15th meeting. So give everyone a chance to take a look at it, and if you have any motion for amendment or approval, we'll take that.
Motion to approve as written.
Do I have any support?
Support.
All right, any discussion for approval of the 2 meeting minutes? Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve them. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, they're approved. Correspondence, any correspondence? Shocking, no correspondence again. Moving on now to our public hearing. This is a public hearing on comprehensive plan phase 1. And some of you may have seen a document like this or may have seen a part of it. Represents a redevelopment of a comprehensive plan for this community. And I'm going to open the public hearing at this time and invite, well, actually, why don't you want to give a quick overview of the process, or have Rosalind do that?
I would invite Rosalind Jones up, but commissioners, as you recall, we started this process probably a year and a half or so ago. And in looking at it, what was required, because the previous plan was dated 2000, was more than just a tweaking, but a real redo. So we were fortunate enough to bring in, to be able to bring in Rosalind Jones to assist with the process, and I think she can provide you with an overview.
Come on up and give us your name.
My name is Rosalind Jones, and I've been working with the city since, I believe, June. The process began this summer with the Planning Commission looking backwards all the way to 2000 to the comprehensive plan, the most recent comprehensive plan that had been done in 2000. And the Planning Commission, as you know, spent several weeks, probably months, this summer identifying, because it's a comprehensive plan versus a master plan. A master plan is just very technical and looks at issues of road and infrastructure and more technical zoning. A comprehensive plan is comprehensive in nature in that it looks at the goals and priorities of the community all the way from economic development to infrastructure. It's broad. So as you know, the Planning Commission spent several iterations refining goals and objectives that are actionable, and the focus being what can the city accomplish within a 5-year period, because the Michigan Planning Enabling Act requires that a comprehensive plan is updated in 5 years. So the plan was written so that it's focused on what can the city, again, accomplish within a 5-year period, recognizing that some of the goals extend longer than 5 years because you're looking at the vision, you're looking at the future, but the focus was what can we accomplish, what's actionable in 5 years, and leveraging a lot of partners. In addition to that, we did a community survey, approximately 200 people. And again, from a statistical perspective, that's not a large number, but for this kind of research, 200 respondents is pretty good. Gave us a preliminary sense of the pulse of the community. And then from there, we proceeded with 4 town hall meetings that were held in different quadrants in the community. Some of the high-level findings were that citizens were very concerned with roads and streets. And so to that response, the city is going to look at not only the surface infrastructure that people can see, but the underlying infrastructure of sewer and water, because if we're going to tear up the streets, we need to address that as well. So we'll be rolling out, probably by March, more information to citizens to let them know we heard you, we're not ignoring it, but there's a fiscal side of not just addressing the surface infrastructure, but also the underlying infrastructure of the roads, or sewer and water. And obviously, there are fiscal constraints. Albion's not the only community that's in the situation, but aggressively looking for resources to address that issue. A second issue was jobs. And so the way the plan is written, it's written from the perspective of who creates jobs. Jobs are created by businesses. And so in order to attract jobs, there are a number of strategies that the community can engage in, starting from the far extreme, high-tech jobs where somebody comes up with some innovation and is creating jobs from that perspective, to helping startup businesses grow. So with that said, the EDC director, there was a transition, we know, in terms of economic, the EDC director, the leadership at the EDC. And so the plan is focused on attracting jobs, attracting companies that will create jobs, retaining and helping existing companies expand and grow, and helping startup businesses, all in the effort to create new jobs in the community. In addition, a strong relationship in terms of workforce development. A third issue that came up was access to health care, and we're looking at that in terms of a two-step, and specifically access to urgent care. So we're looking at it in terms of from a tactical perspective, a two-step process. One is looking at existing networks and partnerships, and how do we leverage that in the short term, meanwhile creating a business case, because as you know, when you talk about healthcare systems, the bottom line is the bottom line. And so being prepared to make a case for why Albion. And I'm from Lansing, so when you're talking to a Sparrow healthcare system or you're talking to a McLaren, they're there to make money. So long term is to be able to communicate in their terms of why, when you look at the numbers right now, Albion has a declining population, and from a business perspective, this might not be a community in which they want to invest today, but making the business case that based on the trajectory that we're on and the plans that we're putting in place, is certainly a place where in the future we would want them to consider. So I think that's a quick overview of the process. Are there any questions that you have of me?
Well, I want to move on to the public hearing part, and then we can bring in questions from the commission.
Okay.
Thank you, Rosalind.
You're welcome.
Now is the time for anyone who wishes to come forward. Give your name and either give comments or questions. This is your time to be heard in this process.
My name is Lonnie Brewer. I'm the president of Double Vision Center. Location is 200 North Clinton Street. We've been hearing about a lot of things that have been going on, and with everybody trying to bring businesses down to the Albion area, the downtown area. We've been down in our new building for about 4 years, so we're trying to find out how can Double Vision play a role in this community building up, because like I said before, we've been up this is gonna be our 10 years anniversary. We was downtown on 115 South Superior for 3 years, and we didn't shut down because we was doing bad. We shut down because we was doing too good and the building was too small, and it became a safety hazard. So what we did, was blessed to purchase the building on 200 North Clinton Street to be able to deal with people's safety and also make it more friendly base for community, basically for, all race. So we're saying that I'm trying to find out any kind of way that Double Vision can connect, because we done went through the school district, we done went through the college, we done went through other organization base and discuss what kind of way we can bring our vision, because we're not going anywhere. We've been here for 10 years now. We bring a lot of idea to this community when it comes to job creation, programs, entertainment. So we're trying to find out what we have to do as an organization to fit in with this new thing that Albion is bringing to this city that I've been part of for 45 years. So I've been in this city for 45 years. And me and my twin been doing things in this city 25 years and things like that, for fundraisers and programs and all kind of activities. So that's my concern. We've been hearing about a lot of things that, like entertainment or recreation center, but it's kind of like hilarious because my twin and I have been trying to open our community center up, and we've been hearing a lot of this talk about new community center, but I want to touch just a little bit base and I'm going to sit down. When I hear people say a new community center, a lot of time, those is mainly organized when it comes to private. It's only certain kids had an opportunity to be involved in that program. When we say community center, we talking about opening it up to anybody. You don't have to be a special member. You don't have to belong to an organization. You don't have to. It's just open up to the public. It's going to be open up to the public for the same thing library doing, computers, teenager dancing for the teenager, roller skating, things like that. So we pretty much got the building in good condition to open up. We just wanted to make sure the building is equipped, safe, looking nice before we do open it up. So all the major things that we repaired already in the building. It ain't nothing major that we have to do to the building besides putting out new lightings that we already got, put new carpet down, and then, just tweak our heating cooling system. And then that's it to the building. So we're saying that I'm hoping that when you guys speak on businesses and creating programs for youth, keep Double Vision in mind. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brewer. Let me find out if there are any questions or comments the commissioners have. I want to thank you for coming forward. I mean, one of the key aspects of this comprehensive plan is to stabilize the downtown, and you're helping do that. So thank you.
Yep.
Anyone else who wants to come forward?
Andrew French, 702 East Erie Street, Albion, Michigan. Having been a member of the 6th Precinct Council for the last 6 years, I think this is long overdue, and I have been watching the efforts of all the people who've been involved, especially yourselves, bringing this to reality, and I wholeheartedly endorse this comprehensive master plan. It gives council and the city staff and leaders clear guidelines about priorities and where we want to go over the next 3 to 5 years. And so I wholeheartedly endorse all the efforts of Rosalind and Danielle and Cheryl and the rest of you. This is a really great effort, and I endorse it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to come forward? Anyone else? Okay. All right, I'll close the public hearing and oh, sorry, didn't see you. Come on forward.
Good evening. 1303 East Michigan Avenue, Jeanette Spicer. I just want to stress that where there is no vision, the people perish. And that is in government, in our personal lives as well. I am supportive of the comprehensive plan, and I think it is absolutely wonderful idea to forge ahead with plans and goals. Also, as a part of that, I stress and I want us to seriously consider for our future a urgent after-hour medical care facility as a part of that. I strongly believe that in the future this community is growing, and that is something that we truly need here. To have a child sick, 4 or 5-year-old, at 1 o'clock in the morning, it would be nice to be able to go somewhere locally instead of taking an ambulance or driving a child to Jackson or Marshall. So I definitely think that is a wonderful part of this plan, and I hope to see it come to fruition. Thank you for attention.
Thank you.
Marcola Lawler, 918 North Berrien Street. I just want to speak on behalf of a resident of Albion about the streets. And She works for the funeral home out by that way, going towards Homer. And she was concerned about the streets for Irwin Ave, when they do a recession down that way, out of Irwin Ave. There's a lot of rocking, so they're concerned about the bodies that rock. So if we could get something probably done about that, that would be awesome for her, and I can take it back to her and just let her know that we're working on it. Thank you.
Okay. All right, anyone else wants to come forward? Okay, so now I'll close the public hearing. Open it up to, well, let's move on now to order of business and our consideration of the recommendation of this comprehensive plan, phase 1, to the city council. So before us is a draft comprehensive plan. Obviously, we've been reviewing it for months, and we've gone over pretty much every aspect of it more than once. And the next step would be for this body to consider sending this or some amended version of this plan to the city council for its consideration. So with that, let me open it up to the commissioners. Yes.
I think the plan is pretty good, as long as we know how to multitask and not work on just one thing. It is important to develop the businesses and help them start up and get going, but realizing that the real thing that makes businesses survive in any town is families that have disposable income. So let's not forget about creating job base and attracting manufacturing and businesses that actually pay living wages that afford families disposable income to support the businesses here in town. I just wanted to make sure at least express my feelings that it's good, I like it, as long as we can multitask with it.
So am I reading you that you don't really have a suggestion for amendment, but simply an implementation?
Just
issue?
my interpretation.
Okay. Great. Anyone else? Yeah.
I guess in a similar vein, Mr. Brown, I know earlier on, because I asked this question earlier, but a couple months ago, about the way the goals were numbered. Oh, I'm sorry. The way the goals are numbered really don't indicate, let's say a particular, rank order, but might, or could someone explain what the pros and cons, what would be the con of having some of the goals ranked to at least help with what Mr. Brown said is, so we don't lose focus on that particular component.
Do you have a proposed ranking?
Well, I think what's listed as goal number 1 probably should stay as goal number 1. I think, the current order, the current order right now kind of makes sense.
What page are you on here?
I'm on page, well, there's no page, about 50, theoretically 59.
It's the end of the
It's towards the
packet.
end. It's the appendix.
Appendix 1, it's page 43 in the packet that was printed out.
If I could just ask for a point of clarification. Did the planning commissioners have the opportunity to go through a ranking process for the goals? Are these prioritized in any way?
Yes.
So just making that explicit that's,
Well, I just want to get clear as to what your point is.
I think because basically what I understood Scott to be saying, and I agree, is that for any of this to work, we have to have residents here who have jobs, stay here and want to stay here. And so I think that it's important to prioritize that in the master plan. I think that's important. So I wouldn't object to keeping this order, but at least but there needs to be some clarity, at least for the city, with the limited resources and staffing that we do have, what we're going to prioritize with the resources and time that we have. So I think that would be helpful.
Do you have any suggested amendment to the language?
Well, I mean, I don't have anything explicitly right now, but I think if we could add language, just stating that the goal order actually has some meaning to it.
Can I add a thought?
Is there any such language in the comprehensive plan?
There is not, but I can explain it and I can write it.
Okay. I would note that we did add the 11th goal regarding healthy living at the end. I mean, the way I was approaching is that these are all goals for this entire city. So, but Rosalind, if you want to come forward and speak to that issue, if you want.
The way the goals are ranked is at number 1, especially from the perspective of community and just in terms of economic development. Economic development is ranked first because, as you said, we want to basically grow the economy, we want to attract new investment to the community. In order to do that and to meet the demand of the community, infrastructure is an important component, and so that's a high priority. And as I stated previously, from both the community input survey as well as the town hall sessions, as well as in terms of the needs of business, infrastructure needs is a very high priority. And number 3, zoning underscores or underlies everything. So in order to support all of the goals and objectives, I mean, those are foundational. In terms of number 4, there has been concern about blight elimination. In addition to that, we know from the target market analysis that there's a huge demand for housing, both for people who live here. We've lost, people have left the community, for example, seniors who want to downsize or find other housing options. We're losing residents as well as missing an opportunity to attract new residents. In terms of number 5, the downtown, we see the momentum that's taking place. That's a high priority. In terms of 6, although the annexation has taken place, the city still wants to have an active role in making sure of whatever it can do to support education or the needs of Albion's kids, that's taken care of. In terms of goal number 7, that addresses poverty, and the vistas are taking the lead in terms of figuring out, in terms of the existing infrastructure, how to accommodate that. 8, transportation. There's a tremendous opportunity for Albion, not only in terms of the Superior Street reconstruction, but just in terms of expanding as you're looking at walkability and even the vision of establishing Albion as a trail town. I think we've talked about this on numerous occasions, that using Marquette as an example, they've used their trail as an economic development asset to create tourism opportunities, where there are tactical things that you can do to encourage people to get off the trail, come into the downtown, have lunch, use the ATM, buy water, and even there are some high-end people, bicyclists, who may even stay the night. In terms of corridor development, as we've discussed previously, that is a high priority. There were concerns about capacity, but in communicating with the EDC, it appears that there may be some synergy between their goals and ours, speaking to your concern about multitasking. And all of these goals and objectives are going to require some important relationships with other stakeholders. In terms of number 10, again, that's an important priority, but it's something that undergirds the plan. And then we added the healthy living objective so as not to, I mean, it's in the economic development section, but we wanted to pull out the role of the food hub in terms of increasing access to healthy food choices. And again, I mean, that's something that came out in the town hall sessions, and as well as addressing the concern about urgent care. So there is a priority, and if I need to write a narrative, that's not a problem.
I would note that each one of the sub-goals under all of these 11 goals, they all have certain timelines. So each one of them supposedly is supposed to be addressed, you know, at some level. So is there Mr. Brown, do you have a suggestion for an amendment, some language?
Well, that was basically, because I've seen in the email conversations, everything, so I've made requests to that, but I think that was the one thing from several months ago that was the concern for me, is making sure that there was some order, so I'd be willing to even talk with you guys in the meeting tonight.
Not a problem.
To get that language together.
Okay.
Well, like, if we're gonna vote on a comprehensive plan, we would have to have the language.
Oh, okay, well.
So, are we talking about Appendix 1 at the top? 2016 comprehensive plans?
Yes.
Plan goals and objectives?
Yes.
What if we said ranked 2016 comprehensive plan goals and objectives?
You know, that's fine, as long as there's an indication, you know, like if we have to make a decision with, you know, a 6-month period, what we're gonna use that period of time to do, and we have to, or whatever time, because you're right, there are some projects that are, I guess, have a longer period for them, but if we had to make decisions about trade-off, we kind of know what are the types of projects that we would want to pursue, or issues or concerns.
Well, do I have a motion? Yes. Great.
I don't disagree at all with what's being said. I think my understanding through the process was that these were all high priorities. That's why they made it to the goals and objectives. And I would actually caution ranking them, just for the simple fact that it looks like we're suggesting one is more important than the other. And I think, you know, they're gonna happen, some are gonna happen chronologically in terms of time and what we can do and afford and can't do and can't afford. And I think other things are gonna be dependent on outside partners, whether they're local, regional, state, federal, whatever, private partners that are gonna help make some of these things happen. I guess I'm just thinking it might just be, and I would suggest that maybe we add language about the goals and objectives all being high priorities, and something that we need to look at routinely and collectively as the goals and objectives of the plan. And I was gonna suggest that maybe that we make it part of our process as a planning commission to revisit these routinely and often. So this is a living document. I mean, otherwise this just ends up something on a shelf. Even if we prioritize and say this is our highest priority to fix the streets, somebody else might say, well, my health is far more important than my street. And they'd be right in saying that if that's their situation. And so that's why I would caution against ranking them, as opposed to just saying that we suggest that they're all high priorities and that we have a process as a planning commission to revisit all of them routinely, maybe even at every planning commission, not in depth. I know we need to get through our meetings, but to say where are we in terms of implementing this plan over time. So
do you have a motion or no motion? Just
I would suggest that we just add some clarification in Appendix 1, and I'm open to being disagreed, but add some language in Appendix 1 that says that the following goals and objectives were all identified as high priority based on all of the input from the Planning Commission, from the community, from all the partners. and that each of them is going to be taken into consideration on a routine basis by the planning commission in terms of progress and
Okay.
towards our goals. And
That sounds like a
just
motion.
so we remove that idea that the planning commission is saying that public health is more important or less
Right.
important than public streets, because they're all important. And I don't know if that helps or
All right.
hurts what Commissioner Brown is saying.
Well, we got a motion, so I don't know if I have any support for that.
I'd like to offer an amendment to that. I absolutely agree with classifying them all as high priority. Does it help if we amend it to read, the comprehensive plan goals and objectives may be reviewed quarterly by the planning commission? Does that help?
Well,
Am I adding to nothing, or does that help?
that can be considered a friendly amendment to your motion. I don't know if you want to move that or not.
Okay, I'll put forward a motion, I guess. I'm moving that we clarify that these goals and objectives are not ranked in terms of priorities for the community.
Okay.
Because priorities for the community are gonna vary based on individuals and populations.
Okay.
Therefore, all of the goals and objectives in the comprehensive plan are deemed high priority.
Right.
For the planning commission, for the community, and they should be revisited often to determine progress towards each of the goals.
All right. Often, will you support that?
Or quarterly, I'm fine with that, actually, you can say quarterly if that's, and I agree. We don't-
I just want to know if I got a supported motion or not.
Supported with quarterly, yes.
Quarterly.
Supported with quarterly, yes.
All right. Let's open up this discussion. We have a motion which has been seconded to add a sentence or two after the title, Appendix 1, 2016 Comprehensive Plan Goals and Objectives, basically saying that they're not ranked, that they're all high priority, and that the Planning Commission will review these quarterly.
And,
Yeah?
in the sense of reviewing that, like, let's say, we're within a year, are we gonna look and see, okay, the ones that are listed within, let's say, 1 or 2 years, are we gonna say, have those been taken care of? Is that the nature of the review?
I would assume that's what we would be doing, yeah.
Okay.
Chairman, I would
Yeah.
like to just point out one correction
Sure.
on the Appendix 1, that year should reflect 2017 instead of 2016
Oh.
comprehensive
All
plan.
right. Okay, any other discussion on this motion? Okay, again, the motion is to amend the draft comprehensive plan to include a sentence which essentially says that all of the goals, the goals are not ranked, they're all of high priority, and that the planning commission will review them quarterly for progress. Okay? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, that passes. Did you get that language? Good. Okay, let's continue with a discussion or a motion regarding this document. Yeah, great.
They're pretty benign, but I would add on page 40, I would note that the Heritage River Water Trail exists. There's a prioritization in there to develop a water trail. There is a Heritage River Water Trail on the Kalamazoo established.
Okay, so Greg, what paragraph are we on?
Fourth from the end, non-motorized network, page 40.
Mm-hmm.
City has expressed its support of the proposed project. My understanding is that the Kalamazoo River Heritage Water Trail is in existence and on the Kalamazoo River. So it's not a proposed project. It is a project.
Okay.
Also very small, the Potawatomi Resource and Development Council is the Potawatomi Resource Conservation and Development Council, same paragraph. Following paragraph, trails are good for the health of local residents, just a typo. Sorry, I read the whole thing.
What's that?
Resource conservation and
Okay.
development.
So we're in the third paragraph of the non-motorized network section. The third line, the city has expressed its support of, you simply want to strike proposed of the project? That's your,
Yeah, I would strike proposed.
okay. And then Potawatomi Resource and Development Council is,
Potawatomi Resource Conservation and Development Council.
okay, so conservation needs to be added. Okay,
Following paragraph, trails are good, the health of local residents, trails are good for.
yeah, missing word, so, yeah, we'll probably will get cleaned up in a bit. Second line, fourth paragraph, trails are good for.
That's comment, page 43, appendix 1, goal 1. This may be a question for Rosalind because I don't, I mean, I have the exact, excuse me, goal 2, the first point, so delivering high-quality municipal services that improve the quality of life in Albion. The first objective is to take all the necessary steps to have Albion certified by the Economic Development Corporation as a redevelopment-ready community. I wondered if that should be repeated in goal 1, or if that is only relevant to delivering high-quality municipal services. Is it also relevant to retaining and attracting jobs to Albion to support business growth, development, and attraction?
I think it's both.
And the reason I'm saying it is that we've been talking about the redevelopment ready community process. I mean, that's what's driving a lot of this comprehensive plan updates and a lot of the things that we're doing as a community. And for it to just be stated one time as an objective, I think it's relevant to some other objectives, but specifically, or excuse me, goals. Goal 1 is one that seems relevant to restating the redevelopment ready community process as an objective.
Okay, so your suggestion is to take that bullet and repeat it in goal 1.
Correct.
Okay.
And to that point, it could also be repeated in goal 3. And I think this is the same logic we used in repeating that whatever progress we make in each of these goals, that we utilize in terms of our comprehensive marketing strategy for the community, that we update the community through a comprehensive marketing strategy. We're repeating that in each of the goals as we make progress and we meet quarterly. We talk about these things, that we incorporate those into a comprehensive marketing strategy to talk about our successes and our accomplishments. By repeating the redevelopment ready community process as a priority objective in each of these goals, I think we'll revisit it more often and not let it fall to the wayside as a critical process.
Okay, so your suggestion is to repeat it as well in goal 3.
Correct. 1, 2, and 3.
Okay. Anything more?
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I'll take that as a motion to amend page 40 along the lines we just talked about, removing proposed Potawatomi Resource Conservation and Development Council, adding 4, and then repeating the first bullet of goal 2 in the body of goal 1 and goal 3. Do I have support for that?
Support.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, that's passed. Any other comments or motion?
Page 39. The I-94 business loop runs west on Austin, or runs east on Austin Ave, not west.
All right. We're, first paragraph?
The first one under the, it says the I-94 business loop is a 4.4 mile highway. It runs east on Austin Ave.
Okay.
Into Superior, not west.
Okay. Is that it?
That's it.
Anyone want to support that?
Support.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, got that. Yeah,
I have a question. So one of the things that I thought about as well, because you mentioned we've engaged stakeholders to do this too. Is there any concern about if a particular stakeholder, like for example, I mean, there might be a stakeholder who is invested in one particular issue, and they're willing to put in either the man hours or the financial backing to make sure that that is accomplished. Is there any concern about when that happens, if that detracts from the other goals being taken care of? Right, so what I mean by that, for example, is the good work that you've done right now, let's say with the trails and those kinds of things. That's something that will probably be accomplished because that's your expertise, and there's been a record of success, so that we know that those goals are going to be taken care of. But in the instance of, let's say, an urgent care facility, how confident can we be that that's not going to be dropped? Because basically what I'm getting at is accountability for getting certain things done. Because I know that certain stakeholders in the community are invested in getting particular elements of, or particular goals accomplished. So my concern is I don't want that to overshadow other goals being accomplished. So that's kind of where my concern was coming from, is making sure that we're saying these are all high priority, but then we also acknowledge too that the city and the various entities that work with the city are not basically flush with cash, so we have to make trade-offs and decisions, those kind of things. So has there been any kind of concern about or discussion about that? How do we prevent, not so much, the city, what we're saying here is the city is saying these are our priorities, but then we're gonna have to deal with stakeholders who say, I'm willing to back a trail, I'm willing to back, a transportation system, and that could affect what gets done before other things.
well, these are goals. I mean, some of them probably aren't going to be accomplished, but they're goals. I mean, that's the whole point. And we put together timelines which weren't completely unrealistic, so that there was a chance that they were going to be, that we'd make it, but, chances are not all of them are going to be made. Well, hopefully they will, but, I mean, I'm not sure. Is it your point that someone might put money into one goal and then there wouldn't be money for another goal?
Or no, what I'm saying is if there's, I don't know, I know there was, if there's there's a grant, I remember earlier this summer there was discussion about, was it the Ford Foundation or the Ford Corporation had a grant, and then we applied to it? Was that the case?
I don't recall that one,
Okay.
but yes, we did.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is the availability of funding or resources, are going to have an impact on some goals, right? So if someone comes in and says, "Hey, I'm willing to give $1 million to do X, Y, and Z," that might make it easier for the city to say, "Okay, well, let's get that done." And so that's kind of what I'm getting at is if that's happening, which I think it is kind of happening in the community now, how do we make sure that other things are getting done?
Well, that's up to the city government, right?
Okay.
It's up to the city council and the planning commission to stay on top of it.
Okay.
So, yeah.
But I would suggest we utilize our quarterly reviews to actually talk about things that we
Okay.
think might be efficient.
Sure. Right.
Was that suggestion voted on?
We have quarterly in that sentence.
Okay.
Yep. All right. Any other suggestions for change? All right. I made a number of notes that I sent on. They're basically stylistic. You may have seen on page 5, there was some text on text. You may have seen other places where later on in the document with the questions, they weren't really matching the page right, but I think those things probably will be taken care of. So do I have a motion?
So moved.
Support.
And okay, and just to be clear, our motion is to approve this document as we've just amended it to be sent on to the city council for their consideration. Okay, any discussion on that? All right, I'll bring it to vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right. It's going to the council. Thank you, Rosalind, for all your work, and Daniel. All right, moving on to B, approved 2017 meeting dates. I think on the very back of the stack you had in front of you. Are we just looking at planning commission dates? Okay. So we've got planning commission dates, January 18th and February 22nd, Wednesdays. And the rest, I think, are Tuesdays. So I'll take a motion.
Motion to approve the meeting dates for 2017.
Support.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. 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 Opposed? Good. They're approved. Do we have any commission members to excuse? Because other one, okay.
Can I ask a question about that? Do we need to excuse them from the previous 2 that we couldn't vote on? I, for example, was not here last time, and it wasn't excused, there wasn't a quorum. I'd like to excuse myself.
Okay. So, let's see, back on November 17th, right? 15th, sorry. We did have a meeting. We did not have a quorum. And, let's see, Garrett and Mayor and Scott and Greg, you were not here. All right. Do I have a motion to excuse their absence? Do I have support for that? What's that?
I don't know if I can vote him out. Can I support? I know, that's, wait a minute. Let me take that back. I don't know if I can.
Take the lead.
Yeah. Yes.
I don't even think November 15th should have meeting dates. There was a quorum, it wasn't actually.
Wow.
All
Good.
right.
You're right.
Everything was fun.
I'm
It
learning
wasn't
here.
actually a quorum.
There wasn't a meeting.
So maybe we don't have to excuse because there wasn't a meeting.
That's right.
Need to, it wasn't actually, like, probably
Do
should.
you know?
You can't have a official record.
I'm willing to accept that interpretation. And we really had sort of,
Information.
yeah, we had a big party,
Even notes.
a discussion. Okay, so I don't think we actually can have a I think I agree with you. There's no meeting, so there's nothing to excuse. All right, citizen comments. Anyone who wishes to come forward? Yeah, Rosalind.
Technically, I'm not a citizen. Should I give my address?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I said technically, I'm not a citizen of Albion. Should I give my address?
No, go ahead.
Okay. Just as a matter of technicality, we need the chairperson to sign when the document is completed, the inside cover, before it goes to council. So just a
All right.
technicality.
Okay. Anyone else? Any other citizen comments? Okay. Any commissioner comments?
I'd like to thank Roz and Danielle and Cheryl and everybody else who put in so much time and effort for all the town hall meetings and everything during this whole
Yes.
process. It's been fantastic working with y'all. You did
Yes.
a really good job.
Thank you very much. Great job.
I second that.
All right, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you.